Good evening, everyone. This is Mitch with SC Weather. Hope y'all been having a great Thursday, a great week so far. As we get a little bit closer to the weekend, we're going to talk about some changes in the models that they show for next weekend as we try to really reel in that favorable winter weather pattern that we're trying to get into. We're in the 7 to 10 day range, so we're really in a good time frame to really start to do what you call pattern recognition and really figure out and really say that we may be heading towards a favorable pattern for winter weather. But let me tell you, some crazy things have happened in the models today. The NAM kind of started hinting on it last night, but this weekend may end up being a snow event for areas of the southeast. I don't know about South Carolina, and I don't even know about North Carolina, but I know the mountains are going to have another winter weather event this weekend. I'm talking about Saturday night into Sunday, and it may leak into the Triad of North Carolina. Heck, it might even leak into Charlotte, maybe even the far upstate of South Carolina, places in northern Georgia, Tennessee, and it's going to be a quick hitter for the mid-Atlantic and northeast potentially. This thing is really trending in the right direction as far as snow the last day. So we're going to break down what the models are showing, because this might be something that's going to continue to sneak up on us, because we're pretty much 48 hours before this event is supposed to happen. So we actually might be getting some accumulating snow in areas outside the mountains. So we're going to break that down, and then the next part of the video we're going to talk about the Arctic air mass that we've been discussing in the last several videos, and what kind of winter weather threat is still showing up in that time frame. So this is going to be a longer video. So if you want, fast forward to that part or stay for the whole thing, because this will probably be a longer video, like I said, because we're going to break down two separate things in one video. So before we get going, if you haven't hit subscribe, much appreciated if you do. That's just a great way to support me. I'm very passionate about the weather, and I talk about weather in the southeast, mid-Atlantic, northeast, I'm just a weather enthusiast, a guy that loves the weather. So if you do too and you follow along, definitely hit subscribe, like the video, and your support is awesome. Also, if y'all got anything that I can pray about or anybody else can pray about, or if it's unspoken, just drop it in the comments. I love an opportunity to use my platform to pray for you guys and to reach out for y'all. So I'm here for y'all. Y'all are like my mini family, so thank y'all. I'll stop talking now and actually talk about the weather. So we're going to look at the GFS, and we're going to, like I said, we're going to talk about this first storm threat here. And here it comes. And notice the time frame here. This is Saturday morning. Most of the day Saturday looks to be pretty clear in the southeast. But here it comes. You see that blue right there? Yes, I know that's blue as in snow. But we're going to look at the soundings right here, right on top of Columbia. And we're going to check out some things here. So it's 38 degrees. That is way too warm at the surface. You got warm air advection that comes in, which is basically a warm nose. Puts way too much warm air just above our heads. And really, maybe if we could have a chance to get a lot more cold air on top, we would have a chance to maybe get some wet snow out of this. But this is definitely a rain sounding, but it's close. You go a little bit more northern into the part of the state, it might be some snow, but the GFS, this is the latest GFS, it definitely gets aggressive, and it shows a mini snow event in parts of North Carolina in the same areas that just got hit twice in the last, 7 days, 10 days. So it starts getting into North Carolina, Roanoke, Boone, Asheville, Mount Airy areas, Winston-Salem, Greensboro is awfully close. Even Raleigh's kind of close. And look back here in Tennessee, northeast Tennessee has been a very favorite area for snow this year. Nashville, it's close, but we're obviously in short range model range now. So, but it's been interesting. You look at the trends. If you back this up to the run previous, you back it up to the run previous to that, this thing has definitely trended more amped. It's amped. When it trends amped, it's a good thing for areas up here, because basically you got enough cold air. And when you got this area right in here, it's too much ampage, too much of a northwest trend is not a good thing, because you get a warm nose that kicks in. When you get a warm nose, you get warm air on top, and you get a more favorable scenario for a cold rain or an icing event. You actually got to watch out for ice right around Asheville, especially south of them. So this is a sneaky event. It's coming right up on us. So you look at the GFS, and please, guys, this is not going to be snowfall falling at a 10-to-1 ratio. 10-to-1 ratio would try to tell you that we're going to get a couple inches of snow on the upstate of South Carolina, up in the Rock Hill. No, guys, this will be a much a lower ratio, like maybe 5 to 1, something like that. Meaning 5 inches of snow to 1 inch of liquid. So basically, what I'm saying is it's going to be a very wet snow. It's snow that's going to be falling at a marginal temperature. But one thing to note here is the fact that do not take this set in stone. I do not think there's going to be a couple inches of snow in the upstate of South Carolina. Could it start off as a brief burst of snow? Absolutely, yes. Especially this little system is moving through in a very favorable time. It's overnight Saturday, so it's at night, so it's very favorable. So this is a sneaky event, guys. I'm not talking about next weekend. I'm talking about this weekend. This is in 48 hours, so very sneaky event. Might be a nice thumping of snow and maybe some icing in the mountains. This whole area we have to watch, and it continues all the way into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast where they just got hammered, so we need to back this up some. So this is the NAM. This is the 3km NAM. This is probably a better one to use. A lot of people want to use the 12km, which is cool, but it's a lot more aggressive as far as snow. But here you go. 20Z Saturday is pretty much equivalent. It's actually got it moving through a good bit quicker. This shows snow starting to move into North Georgia, parts of Tennessee, and North Carolina in the afternoon Saturday. So it's got it moving through quicker. It starts to get into just a soggy Saturday night here in the southeast. And this is a big wave of snow moving right over the mountains. Snowing again. It's showing snow for Asheville, and look how close it is to North Carolina. I would not be surprised, but look at north of Charlotte, snow. It's showing snow for them, and a nice quick hitting little snow event. Might not be little. Some areas in the mountains could get several inches of snow. But look at this. Look how close the sleet or ice gets. I think this would be more so a sleet here. Gets to Charlotte, even into South Carolina. And it starts cranking up and becomes a nice, decent little storm for snowstorm for Virginia. And areas of the Triad come really close. And look at this wraparound snow. They just loves doing this in Tennessee. So you look at the snowfall accumulations courtesy of the NAM. I know you're seeing this in South Carolina, guys. That is bad feedback. That's not really snow. And up the upstate. I'm not trying to down the upstate, but of South Carolina. But it's showing 2 inches all the way back here close to Atlanta. But NAM does this, and a lot of the short range models does that. It shows snow when there's really rain there. But here in the mountains, I wouldn't be surprised for somebody to get easily a half a foot of snow. This thing could pump a lot of snow quick. But look at it all the way up into, and it obviously stops at 60 hours, so it stops overnight and Saturday into Sunday. But it has it moving through very quick here. So this is an event that we're going to have to watch, definitely, especially from North Carolina. But you look at the Euro, check it out as a whole. The storm, you're getting snow in the Triad of North Carolina. It's very close to Charlotte. Charlotte, I really think y'all could get a few wet flakes mixing in with the rain, or maybe just a brief, and it shows it right here, at about, I don't know, maybe late Saturday evening, you might get a burst of snow to start off. And even here in the upstate of South Carolina, the Rock Hill, maybe a burst of snow before it kind of eventually the warm nose kicks in, as I mentioned, and the storm's just a little too amped and it goes to rain. So, but then this turns into a nice little snow event for the Mid-Atlantic. Gets into Washington, D.C., snowing pretty good, and just a decent event. It's probably an eighth of the storm compared to the one we just had, if that makes any sense. But you look at this, look at the European model, trying to show an inch, and Charlotte, this is 10 to 1, guys. So it's you're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna get an inch of snow in Charlotte. I really don't. But there's a chance for some snow. Some definitely accumulating on the grassy surfaces in the Triad of North Carolina. Got to watch Greenville, Spartanburg. And obviously the mountains, and upstate Georgia might be a little bit more in play this storm than they were in the last. So for sure, this is something that is definitely coming together. You go a little bit further up the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, and this could really be a nice little event for Virginia, same area that probably still has snow on the ground. You go a little bit further in time, New York City, y'all are going to be close with this one. But long story short, guys, I really think this could materialize into a nice little event. I don't think it's going to be a major storm, no, but I do think it could be a nice little event. But This is chances for over 1 inch of snow. You got around the 72% chance, over 70% chance here around Asheville, and the mountains stand a really good chance. But it even leaks into the upstate of South Carolina. 20 to 30 to 40% chance. Upstate of Georgia, there's a good signal. So I think there's a good shot for an inch of snow falling even somewhere outside the mountains, especially the Triad of North Carolina into Virginia. So I'm talking about you, Winston-Salem, Greensboro. Heads up, man. Maybe this could be a sneaky event for y'all. Y'all have already had a couple very small events, but nothing, no household event that drops several inches. Nothing that is like winter storm criteria. But I want to show y'all this. We're going to start talking about next weekend now. So I watched Brad Panovich's video from I think yesterday or this morning. He made a great comparison here and a great example. So obviously a waterbed. You jump on a waterbed, it causes ripples all through the waterbed. So this is kind of how the troughing works, if you will. When you have a trough that digs like this, and this is for next week, it causes a ripple to go this way and this way, which is a ridge in the weather world. So you have a trough digging here and a ridge that builds here, because guess what? When that trough digs right here, keep your eyes right here, it forces this to buckle up and this to buckle up. So it's just kind of like a ripple effect, right? So when that happens, when you have troughing digging so far west, it causes a ridge to temporarily kind of flex up here. You really need this push of cold air. You don't need it extreme, but you need it more to the east to get a southeast winter storm, mid-Atlantic, so forth. But you don't need the push to be crazy, because obviously you suppress it. But check out this low pressure. This is the storm system that's going to be around the same period. But look at it. It kind of cuts on the latest GFS. And the reason it does that is because the push of cold air is just not far enough east. It's basically riding the trough, and the trough is still anywhere from, I don't know, Tennessee, the mountains. You need the trough to be setting up down here so the low pressure can ride down here. So eventually, obviously, once the low pressure gets going, cold air funnels in, but do you have moisture still here? We don't know. I mean, there's so many things to work out, but we're going to show y'all exactly what I'm talking about here in a second. But look at here, I think this is the 6 to 10 day range. Yeah, 6 to 10 day outlook. Still calling for colder than average temperatures, but it's really wanting to focus it more in the Midwest and more out west. And then a little bit of above average chances for above average precipitation, which is good to go with below average temperatures. You go to the 8 to 14 day range, which runs from the 12th to the 19th of February. Keep in mind, we're starting to run out. We're not running out of time, but by this time we're very deep into February, so we need to make something happen. It's showing the Arctic air mass shifting east, but still a chance above average precipitation. So it's something we need to watch. So here's the European run. So what does it show, right? We go through that first system, we get into this weekend, and here's the 32-degree line. That's the Arctic air trying to inch closer. And here's the system right here. This is an elongated system, huge system, running all the way from Texas all the way to Virginia. It's overrunning occurring, but you don't have the Arctic air quite in place. But check it out. You got snow breaking out in Texas. You have ice breaking out in Louisiana, Mississippi. But you don't have cold air really in place for any areas deeper. You have an ice storm breaking out. It's just a winter storm in general breaking out in parts of Mississippi, Alabama. The precipitation is trying to get closer to Tennessee. And you have cold air trying to, a cold air damming hitting and trying to build some cold air. You get into Friday morning, Friday afternoon, and this is a classic screw job for South Carolina, basically in parts of Georgia, because what's going on here is you got low pressure here. That's it's not in a favorable position. You're getting a big time warm nose, and you're basically the ridging that's flexing because the cold air push isn't there. So yeah, you got ice almost all the way down to New Orleans, but you got rain in Columbia and the entire state of South Carolina. And that happens. It actually happened a couple years ago, 2017, December was a great example of that, of kind of like this. But what happens after this is you get more cold air that eventually funnels in, and even though 80% of the storm is rain in South Carolina, eventually you get cold air that crashes through, meets up with precipitation, and you get an ice storm in a huge chunk of the Carolinas and snowstorms. So it happens, but obviously it has definitely trended away from the storm overnight. I think this is the storm overnight. Let's see if we can get it. Here it is. This was when the cold air is in place. This is a beautiful look right here. Even though it's a big-time ice storm, nobody wants ice, obviously, but it's obviously trended in the wrong direction, if you will. So, but here's the cold air. The cold air, it keeps lagging. It's not lagging by a lot, but it keeps backing up a little bit here, and so the cold air works its way through, and it finally gets here 9 days out. So we got to get this cold air to get through closer to 9 days out. But that is some brutally cold air from the European. You got temperatures in the teens, tens, single digits in the mountains, and it does make it, and it's lurking. It just needs to bleed east. Sorry if y'all hear my kids in the background. They're upset because it's bedtime. But the European ensembles here, you know, it's an okay signal, just not the best signal for deep in the south. It's a great signal for North Carolina, Tennessee, but it's not the best signal anywhere else, really. It's a good signal for upstate South Carolina into North Georgia, but it's definitely, it's still far out. Ensembles are not going to bite on an operational run this far out, so it's just something we have to watch for sure. The GFS did not want to throw us a bone for a winter weather threat. Here it is. It is trended north big time here. And you go to the run prior to that, you go to the run prior to that, and you can tell. Let's start it off here. It is obviously, we trended north, and the whole, just basically the cold air push is definitely delayed. So it's causing this low pressure to basically cut. So if it's cutting, then it's not going to be a winter storm for a large area of the southeast. It's going to be a winter storm for the mid-Atlantic and to the northeast. So we need the cold air push to line up with the moisture, and to get that, sometimes you just need a miracle, especially in South Carolina and parts of Georgia. So obviously you see the cold air damming trying to work in, but by the time the cold air push comes, the moisture's getting on out of here. You don't need that. But let me tell you, the GFS is cold. You get to the cold air mass right here. Look at this cold air lurking. It finally pushes through into next weekend, and when it does, it means business. I mean, these are high temperatures. I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be 4 or 5 degrees in Tennessee. So the cold air is coming, or is it? It's just delayed, and if it keeps getting delayed, it's going to get denied. I'm just trying to say that for sure, but this is all guidance. That's all it is, but we're going to try to reel this one in, and we're going to keep talking about it. But first, we got to get through this first sneaky event this weekend, which is going to be very interesting. So thank y'all for following along. Thank y'all for listening, and thank y'all for the amazing support. I've gotten a lot of growth the last week, a lot of growth, and y'all have been amazing, so I appreciate all y'all. Y'all have a great night, and thank y'all for tuning in.